Hello guys, today we are going to talk about the used to, and before we start, think about what you already know about the topic and make notes on your notebook.
Yes, guys, it is important that you make notes on your notebook. Okay.
In this video, we will cover used to, be used to, and get used to. Once again, please stop the video and write that you know about the topic.
It is important that you take notes so that you can learn more, okay? Okay, so Laura, tell us about the most common use of used to.
Okay. We used to for something that happened regularly in the past but not longer happens. For example,
Okay, I used to smoke a packet a day, but I stopped 2 years ago, actually 4. Ben used to travel a lot in his job, but now, since his promotion, he doesn't. I used to drive to work, but now I take the bus.
okay, there is another use for this. We also use it for something that was true but not longer is.
There used to be a cinema in the town, but now there isn't. She used to have really long hair, but she's had it all cut off. I didn't used to like him, but now I do. So now, what about the form, Laura? How do we form used to sentences?
Okay, the structure is subject plus used to plus base form plus object or complement.
Okay, so could you tell us about the affirmative sentences? What if I want to do an affirmative sentence with used to?
Okay, of course. When you're gonna use or when you're gonna create an affirmative sentence, you put a subject, that is I in this case, used to, and the verb in base form, that in this case is place. Is play.
Right. Okay. So what about if I want to use a negative? What do I have to use there?
Well, we have to put the same subject and the auxiliary did, but in negative form, that is did and not, and used to, and the verb in the base form.
Okay, so wait a second. So is used to like a normal sentence in the past simple?
Of course, the auxiliary normally replaces the verb in the past.
Okay, so in that order, what would a question look like?
Okay, you have to change the auxiliary and put it at the beginning, and you said, did we used to do?
Okay, so like a question in the simple past, a regular question.
Right.
Okay, that sounds good. Now let's see some examples. I used to live in Paris. I wish. Sarah used to be fat, but now she's thin. George used to be the best student in class, but now Lena is the best. Oranges used to cost very little in Florida, but now they are quite expensive. Okay, so now can you write your own examples? Please, write them on your notebook. Okay, so we already checked used to. Can you tell us about be used to?
Right. It's important that you know that be used to is not a tense. It's an expression. So the principal use for this is we use be used to talk about familiar and familiar habits and to say that something is normal, not unusual.
Okay, so that like we see in the examples. I'm used to living on my own. I've done it for quite a long time. Hans has lived in England for over a year, so he's used to driving on the left now. They've always lived in hot countries, so they aren't used to the cold weather here.
Note, if the object involves a verb, we use the ing form gerund.
So in examples like this, I'm not used to being lied to. Brian is used to working late. So be very careful about this. This is an exception, but it's a very important use of be used to. Okay, so can you tell us about the form? How do we form those sentences?
Okay, the structure for this is subject plus main verb be plus used to and plus object.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, if we do an affirmative sentence, it would be something like the subject, the main verb be, in this case, I am, and then used to and the object, right? So I am used to riding horses.
That's
Or
right.
I'm used to horses. Okay.
Yeah.
What about the negative sentences? How could we form them?
Okay, you have to put the subject and the main verb be, that in this case is or are, depending on the subject, and the negative part that is not or isn't or are not or aren't. Used to and the object in this case is children or big cities.
Okay. And what about the question? Here we don't start with did, do we?
Um, well, in interrogative form, we use the auxiliary that is the main verb be, but you put it at the beginning. So, are you used to her temper?
All right, good. So it's the to be. That's the one we conjugate when we use be used to. Okay?
Right. Here, there are other examples. I hope that you understand them, and obviously, I want that that this will help you to understand better.
So let's start. So we have I am used to hard work, but we can say it in a different way.
I am used to working hard.
So remember, if we have a noun, then we use, well, the noun as it is, but if we have a verb, we have to use it in the ing form. Like, he's not used to New York.
He isn't used to living in New York.
Okay, now a question. Are you used to fast food?
Are you used to eating quickly?
All right. When we lived in Bangkok, we were used to hot weather.
I have been used to snakes for a long time.
You will soon be used to living alone. So do you think you can try with your own examples now? Will be a good moment to start making some examples in your notebook.
How you saw, be used to can be used with past, present, and future tenses.
That's an important piece of information. Thanks. Okay, so now let's finish with get used to.
Well, get used to is another expression. Get used to is used to express that an action, situation, becomes less strange or new, or becomes more comfortable.
It took them a long time to get used to their new boss. Until they actually felt comfortable with their new boss, some time passed. Have you got used to driving on the left yet? That means the person has lived in London for some time, and now the person wants to know if he or she has, feel more comfortable about it. She is getting used to waking up early for her new job. You have a note, right?
Right. If you get used to something or you are getting used to something, you are becoming accustomed to it.
All right. The form for get used to, Laura. Tell us about it.
Okay, the structure for it is get used to plus something or someone. The second one is get used to plus verb in ing form. So gerund.
All right, so let's see some examples of the structure being formed. Ski instructors get used to cold weather. Yeah. Pedro has got used to speaking English. So we can have either an object, as you see here, or a verb. Alex will get used to living in a big city because he will spend some time and he will finally get accustomed to it.
That's it. There are another examples, and people get used to new technologies.
Okay, Paul never got used to living in the country.
I was getting used to working with Michael.
He had got used to having you around.
I will never get used to getting up early.
He doesn't like that small town, but he'll get used to it.
She found the hills too high, but she got used to them.
Since the divorce, she has become very sad, but I think she'll get used to her new life.
I got used to living in Canada in spite of the cold weather.
Okay, so as you can see in the examples, you can also use get used to in different tenses. So it's time for you to write your own examples on your notebook.
Okay, remember, create 3 examples for used to, 3 examples for be used to, and 3 examples for get used to.
And don't forget to do the activity below. All right, so we hope you understood this topic and you enjoyed it. Goodbye.
Bye bye.